my name is Ash Ricketts. I'm 25 years old, I'm an artist, I'm autistic, and I'm having a quarter-life crisis. So this video is a bit of an intro to me as a person, as an artist, and a bit of a discussion video about where I'm at in life right now. Also my thoughts on autism and how that personally affects me as an artist and the way that I make work. If you have never clicked on one of my videos before, hi, it's nice to meet you. Hopefully this will give you a bit of an intro to me and the kind of content that I make, and if you do already watch my videos, hopefully this gives you some context as to how I got here. This first bit of the video, I'm just going to kind of give you some context as to the earlier parts of my life, I guess. I've talked about it before. I was late diagnosed autistic. I was only diagnosed at the age of 23. So that was two or 3 years ago now. And before that diagnosis, I really struggled. I had really poor mental health from quite a young age, sort of my early teens onwards. I really struggled. I had a lot of psychiatric intervention and help from around the age of 15. I'm really lucky that I have a very supportive family and they really wanted to get me the best help that they could. But unfortunately the thing is that my mental health struggles, at least I think, pretty much all stemmed from my autism, and without knowing that I was autistic, there was all the help that I was getting was like a plaster on a very much bigger wound. So I kept ending, it was just a big cycle for me of doing really badly mentally, getting help, feeling a bit better, maybe trying new medication, trying therapy again, feeling a bit better, trying to get myself back into life again, and then just crashing and it all starting again. I did okay at school, and when I left, I decided to go to university and study animation. Animation was kind of the perfect fit for me. I've always been interested in it. It's always been a bit of a special interest of mine. Uni itself was a kind of difficult time for me. I was still undiagnosed, and it was kind of like the first steps into adulthood. And I still just didn't really understand myself properly at the time. I really enjoyed my course. I love animation and I loved studying it. And I actually decided to stay another year and do my master's degree in animation as well. And I'm really glad I did that. The last year of my undergrad degree was the first year of COVID, when COVID hit. And I then did my master's degree throughout COVID. And then when I came home, it was kind of the end of COVID. And when I came home after uni, when I graduated, I was really burnt out. The job market in general looked really bad. For creatives specifically, it seemed to be even worse. And I found myself feeling really lost. I'll spare you the details, but I was in a really dark place, and I've kind of hit my breaking point of, if I'm going to get help, something needs to change. And I'd had my suspicions that I was autistic, but I'm a bit of a hypochondriac, bit of a cyberchondriac actually. I Google everything way too much, and I'm aware of it. But I knew something wasn't right, and I had different ideas of what it could be. Autism was like the one I was most concerned about, and I thought maybe I had a personality disorder, maybe it was something else. I had like a whole big list of things that I was like, I think it could be any of these. With a lot of help and support from my family, I went to a psychiatric clinic. I saw professionals who really knew what they were talking about and really empathized with me and validated my feelings and listened to my suspicions, like all of them, and went through them with me. And after 23 years of confusion and cyclical issues with mental health and feeling alien and weird and different, I finally received an autism diagnosis. And that was a real turning point for me in terms of finally understanding the root of my personal issues. And then throughout all of this as well, I was also coming to terms with my gender identity and coming out and starting hormones. There was just a lot happening for me in the early part of my 20s, but really receiving that diagnosis was the start of a new chapter and better understanding myself as a person and how I function and how my brain works and how I can live with it rather than fighting against it. Where I'm at now. Hopefully that gives you some context. I appreciate that makes it sound all doom and gloom, but which my life definitely has not been. But that's kind of the context for my autism, and also a bit of my creative background in terms of studying animation. Where I'm at now. So after giving myself some time to heal and process and start to work on understanding my autism, it was a little while later, my boyfriend, my partner, Kieran, happened to get a job that meant that we could move back in together. We found a really nice flat in my hometown, and we've been living here for around 2 years, 2.5 years, maybe 3 years, 2.5 years. And we've started to build a little life together here, and it's really nice. Which brings me to, how am I in a quarter life crisis? If you're a regular viewer and you've been watching my videos, you'll probably know that I've had a rough time of 2024. It's been a bit of a whirlwind with lots of really, really good and lots of really, really bad things happening simultaneously, and it's left me feeling a little untethered. I think part of it is that I've built this really good foundation for a really good life now. I'm living with my partner, we have this really nice flat, my transition is going really well, I've come out to everyone, I have my autism diagnosis and a really good understanding of myself and my brain, and my mental health is in a really, really stable place considering everything that's been going on. I'm just at this good foundation start level, and I feel like all of my life there's been like little fires that I need to put out. There's been like little things that have been drawing my attention and that I need to deal with, like dealing with my gender identity and my mental health, and like all these little things that have been all these little fires that have been drawing my attention and are like little crises that I need to deal with, that have been stopping me from really working on making a life for myself. And all of a sudden all of those fires are out and there's nothing really distracting me or stopping me, but I'm somehow paralyzed from making any decisions or doing anything. I know that I want to do something creative. I've always been drawing, always. I feel like I'm in a really good position where I'm practically set up to achieve and do good things that make me happy, and I just don't know where to start. I think a lot of it is like career anxiety. As an autistic person, having a job, getting a job and keeping a job is really difficult. I think it's only like estimated that I think it's 10 to 20% of autistic people are actually employed, and often that comes with sacrificing a lot of emotional stability, and that's just the caveat of a job, not even with the caveat of a creative job, which is what I want. Currently I have a part-time job cleaning at the same club that I used to bartend at. It's not a lot of hours, so it's very sustainable for me, but that's not what I want to do long term. It kind of went viral on TikTok, I think like last year. People were talking about the fig tree allegory from The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Basically, if you don't know it, the main character is she visualizes herself sitting in the branches of a fig tree, and all of the figs represent different paths that she could take in her life, but she feels paralyzed by the choices, and she watches the figs rot and fall off the tree, and then she can't take any of them. And really I've been thinking about that a lot, because I know I want to do something creative, but when it comes to what direction I should take or where I should focus my energy, it feels overwhelming. I have technically 2 degrees in animation. I have a master's degree in animation, and even just within the animation industry, there's so many jobs and different roles that I could possibly go into. But to do that, or to go in that direction, I need to rework my portfolio with work that would get me that job. And that's just one path with many branching mini paths. And then, but there's also other things that I'm interested in. Like I've really enjoyed running my shop and making products, seeing people enjoy them and buy them. Up until now, I haven't had the time to really put my 100% into it, so it hasn't been as successful as I've wanted. It's not something I make profit from. I currently make enough from the shop to keep itself going and to reorder stock and occasionally get in a new product, but it's not enough to pay myself a wage. I've also thought about doing a tattoo apprenticeship and becoming a tattoo artist, but again, that's more studying, that's apprenticeship wages, not actual wages, and that's another big commitment down another path. I've also thought about becoming an art teacher or tutoring, but again, to be a teacher you have to have a teaching qualification. I'm in this place where I'm overwhelmed and almost mad that I have so much inspiration and so much passion and so much that I want to do, but I somehow am paralyzed and I'm not doing anything with it. Especially when it comes to like my personal artwork, I'm not making as much art as I want. I feel like I start a lot of things, I start a lot of pieces, I start a lot of projects. I have ideas, so many ideas that I want to work on, but seemingly no finished output to show for it. And it's so frustrating, especially because I'm autistic. I have really bad, or at least for me, one of the worst parts of my autism is demand avoidance. As soon as I feel like I have to do something, my brain just won't do it. I feel like I can't start doing something if I have to. And having a job, having a career, or making a decision about a career is a huge demand. That is a lifelong demand. And my brain just can't seem to wrap around that concept or that idea. And the more I think about it, the more overwhelmed that I get. And I feel like I'm looking to different places for inspiration and for answers, especially social media. And I feel like that just makes it worse. I'm just overwhelmed by images and ideas and videos and dopamine hits, and it just seems to make it worse. With my autism comes just rapid cycling of emotions, so I get very overwhelmed very quickly, and then I have to stop thinking about it because I'll just drive myself into a really bad place mentally. It's really easy when you're autistic to feel overwhelmed by life, and I think that's kind of where I'm at, which is really frustrating because I feel like I said, I'm in a really good place in life of foundational level things are good, and I want to build upon that, but it's so overwhelming. And sometimes because I feel like I'm not making enough art, I think, is art even for me? Like, I get frustrated because I don't always feel like doing it, or it feels like a demand because I've turned it into a demand, and then I don't make anything. I saw this TikTok from a writer, actually. She was showing how she's changed her morning routine to involve her writing practice using writing sprints. And someone had commented on that video saying, "This sprint thing and all the preparation suggests to me that writing is a task for you, not your passion." And that comment just got me thinking so much. Like, as an autistic person, pretty much everything feels like a task. Even with things that I'm really passionate about, it's really difficult for me to get into a flow state of enjoyment, which is why I treasure it so much when I'm in that state. And I don't want to think of things like that. Like, I'm autistic, I often can't get myself to do things even when I want to do them, but that doesn't mean I'm not passionate about them. That's kind of a dead end thought there, but that's something that I've been thinking about. Something that's really been helping me is my journal. I talk a lot and show my journaling practice on this channel. It's really just an emotional anchor for me to be able to write down how I'm feeling. And it's also a memory keeper. I've spoken about how poor my memory is, and I think part of that with my autism is I find it really hard to remember how I felt in previous situations, and the emotion that I'm feeling currently feels like the only emotion I have. So it's really helpful to be able to go back through my journal and reread how I thought and how I felt. It's a really good support tool for my memory and for my emotional processing and stability. Especially this year when I've been dealing with grief, autism makes it really difficult to be able to process absolutes like death, which is something I didn't really realize until I was dealing with it. It's really difficult for my brain to accept things that have 100% certainty like that. So journaling has been a really, really useful coping technique for me. In general, it's been so helpful to have my autism diagnosis, but it's difficult to accept that I have a disability and that disability will not go away ever. Especially being late diagnosed, I grew up putting expectations on myself that weren't realistic, and I still struggle to not put those expectations on myself. I always feel like I should be doing better than I am, and I don't take into account that I am autistic. Some things are harder for me, and I don't necessarily need to be doing things at the same rate as everyone else. Life isn't a race. I saw this blog post on Tumblr and someone said, "I truly do not understand how people just slip into relationships and jobs and opportunities and friend groups and lifestyles. To me, there are a million obstacles to navigate in a single basic conversation." And that's truly how I feel. Like, I don't understand how some people just seem to find themselves doing things. I feel like everything that I've ever done, I have to make a conscious decision about and put extreme effort into. I know part of that is that you don't always see the effort that other people are putting in. It's very easy to feel like you're the only one struggling in this way, and that's just not true. But autism itself is very isolating. It tends to make you feel very alien to other people. It can make you feel very alone in your struggles. I found myself thinking in the past few days how I just want to make art. I just want to make things, and I feel like there's all these things getting in my way. I have this urge to just throw away my phone and delete all my social media and take myself off and live in a shed in the woods and just make art and just keep making and submersing myself in creating until I make something that I like. And then I could rejoin society and face people and be like, look at this thing, I made it and I'm proud of it. But that's not life, that's not reality. I think there are certain things I can take from that urge though. I'm going to be taking a social media break. I'm going to be deleting all social media off of my phone, and I'll still have it on my iPad just so I can still post stuff, but none on my phone. I think just having a break from it is a really good idea. Hopefully that will help me feel less overwhelmed and less overstimulated. I definitely feel like I'm turning a corner. I talked about it in my last video. I had top surgery around 5 weeks ago now, and it's really brought me comfort and contentment, feeling this comfort in my body and feeling at home in my body in a way that I never have. I talked quite a lot about it in my last video actually, so if you want to know more about that, you can go watch that, I guess. But yeah, I'm at this stable foundational place in my life and I just want to make stuff. I think the thing that I'm going to be focusing on going forward is finding a balance in my life between taking care of myself and accepting my disability and working within my means, and pushing myself to achieve and pushing myself out of my boundaries, pushing myself from my comfort zone. It's weird because I don't really have an ending for this video in terms of like then I did this and everything was fixed, because that's not how life works. I'm in this weird quarter life crisis situation, and I think, to be fair, I think that's quite relatable. I think that might just be what it's like to be in your 20s, trying to find a direction in life. For me, it just kind of manifests in this weird push and pull between feeling very vulnerable and very incapable because of my disability, and also having this strong, all-encompassing passion for creating that I feel like it demands a lot from me. My passion and my ideas and my drive to make stuff is like up here, and then my ability and my energy levels and the actual output that I'm able to make is down here. And it's that mismatch that's really difficult and frustrating, because I feel like because of my passion and my ideas I should be creating to this level, but I'm human and I'm autistic and I have certain struggles, so I'm only able to create to this level, or at least right now I'm only able to create to that level. I really wanted to make this video and talk about this and where I'm at before the new year, just to kind of mark where I'm at in life right now and the things that I'm thinking about and the issues that I find myself grappling with. I'm very much a believer in slow living, taking things day by day and appreciating the small moments and not pushing yourself to achieve things in a certain timeline, just taking life as it comes. So I don't think any of this is going to change overnight, but next year I really want to focus on my art and my creative practice and finding a direction for it. I think part of that is going to be dipping my toes into all of those different areas that I talked about, in very small, manageable ways, and seeing which of them suits me best, which of them suits the way I work and my brain and my lifestyle the best, and what's feasible for me. Hopefully rule out a few and pick one or two to focus on. I think really the main goal for 2025 is to find a direction for myself and for my creative practice. It's been very cathartic to talk about this and ramble. I love a rambling video. As I said, I mainly make these videos for me, so I hope that if you've watched to the end, you've been able to get something out of this. Hopefully, maybe you can find this relatable. I would love to hear in the comments if you did find it relatable, or if you're in your 20s, what are you doing in terms of finding your direction in life? I'm gonna keep making videos. That's something I really enjoy doing it, and I think that that's always gonna be part of my life and my creative practice. But I really want to involve more art making in my videos, so I think the next video is going to be a vlog, because I have a lot of vlog footage. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you've watched all the way through, I really appreciate it. You can leave me a like or subscribe if you haven't already. I'm a really small channel, so I genuinely notice every single one, and I really appreciate it. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!